Welcome to another episode of Music Musings. I am your host, Derek, and with me today, celebrating a New York win.
Oh yes, gosh, man,
Pat.
that was lovely. I mean, we went to the Mets game, and the Braves obviously destroyed us, but Knicks, that was thank you, JB, Brunson, Hart, Bridges, Cat, everybody in that team, phenomenal job, and New York City, yeah, obviously was lost their mind.
Yes, for those of you listening, we are recording this the day after
Yeah,
the New York Knicks have won their finals championship against the Spurs. And it was fantastic.
that was a good game.
Yeah, just as you said, I mean,
Mhm.
it was such a unifying moment, I think, for New York City. Like,
Mhm.
just walking around the day of, people are like, "Go Knicks!" Like being kind to each other for
yeah. For
you know
once,
for once. Um,
yeah,
and then just everybody losing their mind
yeah.
when they won. And I remember, last night walking around our neighborhood and fireworks in the streets, buses couldn't get through anywhere. People are high-fiving everyone.
Yeah.
Cops just don't care about anything that's happening. Celebrating along with people.
Yeah.
It, very just a unifying moment, and it was really cool to experience that.
Yeah, New York. Oh my goodness, the fact that New York was just alive and oh man, yeah. I mean, I never been disappointed or ashamed to say I'm a New Yorker, but that was one time where everybody was like on one exact vibe, and I loved it. I love it.
I mean, it's been 53 years since they won a championship. That's
Yep.
very well deserved. I mean,
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
played with heart and just an amazing team. So
Right. Yeah. And I remember seeing when I was a kid, I went and saw the Madison Square Garden. I saw Patrick Ewing play, and obviously, we wanted to be Knicks fans, but when I saw Ewing kind of like tearing up when he was hugging him, I was like, because it was rightfully deserved. So in my eyes, I was like, I'm just happy, just really, really happy. And shout out to the Knicks, man. Y'all did a fantastic job.
yeah, that was such a cool moment seeing Patrick Ewing there.
Yeah.
And holding the trophy with them, because certainly he had his time coming. So
yeah, very much. All right.
So go Knicks, and I guess I am now going to be a normal basketball fan. Watch the Knicks next season.
Hey, I love that.
So
yeah. Oh man,
exciting,
yeah.
man. So today we're gonna get into a new topic, but as always, before we get there, let's talk about some new releases and some of our recent musings. You want to take the new releases?
Oh, sure. So, all right. So we've mentioned that Tori Kelly was releasing an album called "God Must Really Love Me." I've been vibing with. Obviously it's only been 2 days since it's been released, but it's really good. Without You, I think, is, in my opinion, even though it's not the single, that's been vibing with me a lot. She's great. This is kind of like a 90s, early 2000s R&B, kind of vibe. I love it. She does a great job. Tight production from my understanding so far, but it's a great listen. You should give it a shot. Next, I think we both are a big fan of Olivia Rodrigo. You seem pretty sad for a girl so in love. This is an album I refuse to listen to. I mean, obviously, I heard the 2 singles, but I don't want to listen to this album until I'm completely isolated and I can give a full through listen. But so far, I'm not going to be disappointed. I know that she's always going to great, fantastic music, great, writing, storytelling, and just all around, just phenomenal artist. And the next one to release, Lane 8, Cross Pollination. Now, Cross Pollination 2. The reason why I brought this one up is Lane 8 is actually a big influence for me. He's a deep house producer. I think he's from Colorado. He's really good, very ambient, lo-fi house ambient. He's very versatile, but his mostly is very deep house, like chill, and it's really good music. Go give it a shot. I think the 2015 album Rise is my favorite, but if you want to go listen to it, this album that just dropped, I haven't yet, but if you get a chance, this is a big hero of mine. So if you ever get a chance, listen to them.
All right.
Yeah.
Will do.
Yeah. All right.
And
Mhm.
yeah, let's talk about the musings of the week.
Sure.
Do I get that? Yeah. So, I mean, I've kind of been listening to Olivia Rodrigo myself this week. It's been on my rotation. Storytelling, catchy hooks and melodies.
Yeah.
And I think she's a great songwriter. So
yeah,
been really into listening to her this past week. I've gone back to listen to Muse, still listening to them, their old stuff, trying some of their new stuff. Still don't have an opinion about it yet, but I'm gonna keep listening and really think about how it compares to their older albums. And then this one kind of was strange for me, but why not? Been listening to Patrick Stump, and not Fall Out Boy, he's the lead singer of, but his solo stuff that he did a few years back. And there's some good jams on there. I mean, he kind of explored different genres in his album. So some of the songs I really liked, they were interesting, and I kind of wish he expanded on it a little bit. At least made another album to kind of see where he would go with it, because I think he is a creative songwriter, and he definitely uses influences of other genres when he makes his own music. And it's not, the pop rock catchiness of Fall Out Boy. It's a little bit more sophisticated, but has his own unique take on it. So if you haven't heard Patrick Stump's solo things, check it out. It's pretty cool.
I definitely got it. Love Fall Out Boy.
What about yourself?
So musings for the week, Lane 8, as I just mentioned, I've been listening to a little bit of his. It's kind of what got me my start into listening into house and deep house a little bit more seriously. Vince Staples, the album Crybaby, which is like which is like a punk centered album, phenomenal production, great. It's political. It's very, some people say controversial, but it's not to me, but it's great music. Next is Naomi Sharon, who is a phenomenal R&B singer. I mentioned her before. Just great ballads. Her voice is just very angelic, if I would say that. And last but not least is Leon Ware, who I'm going to bring up later in the episode. Phenomenal 70s, all-around talented singer-songwriter. Just great at crafting great melodies and just great themes in music. But I'll get to him in a little bit later. You'll understand why I listen to him. But yeah, that's been my musings for the week so far.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So let's get into today's topic, which I was curious about when we talked about this. But
yeah,
today we're going to be talking about the unsung heroes in music history, and I think also just currently happening in current music. Who are the unsung heroes? Which is really just spotlighting some of music's greatest unsung heroes, who are the people who influence is enormous, but whose names often don't get mentioned enough outside of music circles. So these are like the producers, songwriters, engineers, all the session musicians, and any innovators who helped kind of create some of the beloved music in history that we know and love. This goes through multiple genres. We'll talk through rock, pop, hip hop, electronic music, soul, and beyond to whatever they are doing. And these people who help shape, a lot of the soundtracks that we've listened to throughout our lives. So let's talk about it.
Yeah.
Turn up your volume. We're gonna check it out and talk about some of these legends behind these albums.
All right. So as you just said, behind the scenes, when we think of music, engineers mixing engineers like refine albums, background vocalists add like emotional depth, instrument technicians keep performances running smoothly, and songwriters obviously craft the catchy hooks that we know and love. So there's always people that are behind the scenes. Yes, you see the artist or or a group, and they're obviously like they're fantastic and they're well put together, but there's always usually a team behind them. And
Mm.
sometimes we want to recognize these people who play a big factor. So we're talking about, like we mentioned on the previous couple episodes about Giorgio Moroder, and we call him the electronic music's like quiet pioneer. He crafted the techno, house, synth pop, music that you hear in like especially Daft Punk. We could talk about hip hop, what we talk about Jay Dilla. His beats, he's never his pattern or his style wasn't to make it completely on point or quantized. It was to kind of give it a human aspect, which is like it's off. It's going to be off rhythm a little bit, but then it picks up and then it catches itself. And he's like his music has influenced like the neo soul R&B music of the 90s and the 2000s. Like if you listen to Common, Erica Badu, Tribe Called Quest, The Roots, that's pretty much a good portion of his production style is what made their discography. And and this one is another one that I personally didn't know about. I was going to ask you about if you want to touch
Mm-hmm.
this one. Derek's like,
Yeah.
already.
Yeah, I mean, George Martin,
Yeah.
who people, and he's been known as like, the invisible Beatle, because it often, the conversation focuses on the four members of the Beatles, but, the producer, George Martin, played a huge role in taking their ideas and really translating that into recordings and songs. And he had a background a lot in how, orchestration, arrangement, and how that he used that to help elevate songs from, just great pop songs to groundbreaking. And I think a lot, without him, many of the experiment song ideas that the Beatles were famous for probably would never have happened. And he's known as the fifth Beatle, and rightfully so. I think, he is a member of that band just as much as anyone else, and should be recognized as that.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate that a lot of people don't really know who he is, because he had such a significant impact on the Beatles and their history.
And exactly. People like that, fantastic. And then, as I mentioned, Leon Ware earlier. Leon Ware was a highly influential soul and R&B songwriter, producer, and singer. He wrote with artists such as Marvin Gaye. He co-wrote one of my favorite albums by him. I'm sorry, album, I Want You. Michael Jackson's I Want to Be Where You Are. Minnie Riperton's Inside My Love. Quincy Jones and Maxwell's Something Something. So there's artists, producers, and songwriters that help create some of the timeless records that we hold dear. And and these are just some recent examples of the most influential ones throughout history. So yeah, these guys people have crafted some of our favorite melodies, some of our favorite catchy hooks that we were singing at karaoke. We don't realize that we're
Right.
thinking it's that this artist. In reality, it's like a team, and then maybe a specific person that was the architect for that. So yeah.
And that's, I mean, a lot of people don't understand it's most of the time behind these artists, just as you said, it can be sometimes 10, 20, 30 people that have had a part in the song or the album that you're listening to by that artist. Not to say that the artist isn't talented, they are, but they may not, have such experience in songwriting professionally. And that's why you work with, professional songwriters or whoever, producers who can help refine your ideas. Because again, the music industry is a money-making industry. So they want very polished, clean, catchy, whatever their sound is. And they hire people who can help kind of refine your sound to get what they want. So yeah, it's often many people helping you out. There's very few, artists who do everything completely by themselves, which I think is a skill in itself. But we can talk a little bit about that too.
Yeah.
But
so, I want to go to the next segment, which is behind the scenes, art versus the artist. And just like Derek said, there's a lot of reasons that people have like a giant team that help them with either their vision, whether the label hired them, whether it's all kinds of people. But I think music we think of it as a solo aspect, but sometimes I think it's a team aspect. So I think collaboration has always been a part of music. So, sometimes, and as an artist, I get it. I sometimes create some of my best stuff by myself. And some people also feel like they can create their best work with a bunch of other similar minded artistic people or of skill level. And they can create, craft some great melodies or structures of records. But, songwriters and producers, musicians, they all play a valuable effort to a project or to an idea. So, we could talk about just like a movie. Think about a movie. Like you think an actor, there's writers, there's directors, there's cinematography that makes the element that you enjoy visually. So, I think we could think about Pharrell, obviously, co-wrote and produced massive hits like I Love You and Rock Your Body for Justin Timberlake. Fun fact, Pharrell actually wrote that for Michael Jackson and Michael Jackson passed on it. So,
well,
yeah, hey, good on you, Mike.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bruno Mars, before he, had a breakout, he wrote tracks for Carrie Hilson, Alexandra Burke, and Brandy. So there's people who wrote for several different people. And we also got to bring up your boy, or our boy, should I say?
Yeah.
Please, you know more about this guy than I do. Please.
Yeah, Jon Bellion.
Yeah.
Another, successful solo artist, but he's written countless hits for many rising stars. Artists like Halsey, Camila Cabello, Love. Is it Love?
I think it's Love. I know.
Love. Love. We're gonna go with Love.
Yeah.
He's also written for Rihanna, Eminem. It's just he had a hand in a lot of things before he himself became famous.
Yeah.
He also wrote music for Pixar for a while.
What?
He had a contract with them. I think it was for like 2 years. Don't quote me on it, but I think it was for like 2 years. He wrote soundtracks for Pixar. But his latest album, he writes about getting out of that because it was not a great experience, apparently. So, but anyway, that's a whole different thing. But yeah, he's very successful and, has written countless hits from like 2011 on for many artists. So,
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So as you just mentioned, like there's artists who are upcoming that obviously turn into the stars that we hold dear. But sometimes, and this is the interesting thing, sometimes bigger artists can provide opportunities for upcoming artists. So, we can have for example, Prince, wrote Manic Monday for the Bengals when obviously Prince was already a superstar, didn't have to, but decided to help. And that song actually became one of the biggest hits and remains a classic of the 1980s. So, and then, it's Prince. If Prince calls you and says, "Hey, I got a song for you," there's no other answer than yes, I'm listening. You have all pay. You have my
of course.
Can you imagine Prince calling you? He's like, "I got a song for you." I'm like, "You have my undivided attention, sir."
Right.
Oh man. Then you have Alicia Keys, who's helped written for songs for upcoming artists and R&B to give them more of a mainstream push. She's just phenomenal in general. And then we have to bring up Swift. She,
Swiftie.
T Swiftie, who is a masterful songwriter in her own right and occasionally writes directly for emerging artists and hands them her unreleased material. She actually famously wrote Rihanna and Calvin Harris "This Is What You Came For," which is a very big single. Well, I don't know if it's
Wow.
a single. Was this? I don't know. It was a great track. It was a great track. It was played in the clubs. So the fact that, that sometimes artists that really didn't need to do it, they do it because of the love for the art, the love for the maybe they believe in the upcoming artist or the band, and sometimes they just believe in culture altogether. So, it's like there are just some artists who enjoy creating more than performing. Like, you know, not everyone wants, fame. Some musicians love the creative process, but aren't interested in being the center of attention. We have Quincy Jones was like a hit maker in the, he was responsible for Michael Jackson's, great stuff. A more recent person is James Fauntleroy. I never learned how to say his last name, and I feel bad that I butcher it. But he wrote for Beyonce, Rihanna, Frank Ocean, Timberlake. He's considered by modern R&B as one of the biggest influencers of R&B in the last last century. So there are some people who are genuinely in it for the love of the culture or the music and the vibes that they create and the connection they have to, the fans. So there's a lot of people that play a big factor in music in terms of how we hear it. So yeah.
Yeah, and I mean I think that's such an important aspect of, artists helping artists, because, music is a big collaboration. Certainly you could do things by yourself and write your own stuff, but I think most of the time music becomes better when it's shared with others, collaborated on. You get different perspectives, different ideas, and you kind of make your idea becomes even better because of somebody else's perspective. So I think that's a great point.
Yeah. Yeah. Artists, there's just so much, there's a spectrum in terms of how we develop and create the art that we listen to. So and more visual. Yeah. But yes, but that is, you're right. And the line between, big and small isn't always that clear. Like, as we just mentioned, artists sometimes help others. It doesn't matter. They could be upcoming, new, big artists, doesn't matter. They help it all. So, and then I think we're going to move on to the next segment, which is why did some of those artists who are not as famous, why did they never really make as mainstream music success? And was it intentional? And now this one, let's, and I mentioned Leon Ware, and I'm gonna get to him now. And someone like Leon Ware, who can write sensual, sophisticated songs that became hits. But mainstream stardom often requires a public persona, marketing, media appearances, touring, and a recognizable image. And some people like Leon Ware, who was a little bit more I wouldn't say avant-garde, but he's definitely not someone that you can easily market because of his sound is very for the 70s was very, I guess, controversial, if I'm lack of a better word.
Sure.
Yeah. So but some people, they thrive also in collaboration, as we just mentioned, Quincy Jones, Rod Temperton, Babyface, especially in reggae and dancehall. He played a humongous influence in the 90s and early 2000s. But these people help create the sounds that we genuinely love. And sometimes, actually, like Babyface, for example, I'm going to step off for a second. He was actually trying to be an artist himself, but then realized he was better suited as a singer-songwriter for other artists and being more a part of the background production value. So he made a pivot, should I say? But anyway, so there's so many elements to doing that. But when it comes to record labels, they have a limited amount of resources. They can't just spend like they have an unlimited, bank account on every single person that has talent. They have to, unfortunately, as much as we've discussed before in the past, sometimes they have to put certain chips on a certain artist just because they think there's a return. So
Yep.
there not a lot of record labels in the past were willing to take a risk or a gamble. Some did, and it paid off, which we've discussed in the past. But most of the time, they're playing safe. They're going to invest in somebody like, okay, they're simple. They have a specific image. They have a specific sound. It's easy to market. It's easy to get brand deals with. They're going to that's the person. They're going to throw all their money behind that and bank on
Yeah.
that. So, but yeah.
Again,
Mm,
that makes sense because it is a business.
mm,
They have a lot of people they need to pay. Studios they have to upkeep. It's a lot of money to run a
mm,
music and just a production studio or music studio, whatever. So it's not like they can just sign anybody.
mm.
You have to come with a unique perspective, unique talent, or you just fit the type of artist that they're looking for,
Yeah.
and go down that way. So, as much as it would be nice to just, oh, I can just be a music artist and
Mm,
express myself in however way I feel, like you
mm.
do have to know how to market yourself, because if you want to get signed, you have to present yourself as something that's marketable and will produce
Right.
revenue. That's really it. So
Mm,
yeah, it's hard to kind of see it that way, but that's how record labels function. It's
mm.
where am I going to invest my money and who's going to make me the most on my investment,
Correct.
essentially.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's why when my referring to Leon Ware, his sound was very provocative, a little bit more uh intimate. And some people, like I said, they're like an artist that's versatile and spread out in terms of discography. They'll have a song like that here and there on
Hmm.
their album. But to make that in their entire persona, especially in the 70s, was a very difficult thing to do. So,
Right.
so record labels, yes, he played a big factor in making those songs and help crafting those ballads and melodies that we love. But his was like his entire persona. Record labels is like, we might alienate some of our listeners. We might alienate some of our fans. It may not always pull well with, et cetera, whatever metric you want to use. So as you just
Mm.
said, like it's the marketing, it plays a factor. It, mainstream success, like, charisma on like camera and interviews, your fashion, your, visual identity, as you just said, like,
Yeah.
stage presence, and cultural trends and, and timing, especially timing plays a factor. So like in today's age, you can be as provocative as you want to be, or if anything, as controversial as you want to be, if you genuinely believe it. And now there's an era where there can be success with that. It may not be as widestream success, mainstream success, but there's still success regardless to some degree.
Right.
So yeah. So but now we're going to the next conversation, and this is where it's kind of a it's more of a Derek and I, lean in a little bit more of our perspectives on this. So
Mm.
when we look at like the bigger picture versus the individual artists, where do you think in terms of music, where do you think where does it matter?
Huh. I think. Well, okay. Here's
Mm.
my idea.
Oh, go for it.
I think they both matter.
Mm-hmm.
So, in terms of music, right? So, I think
Mm.
you have to be unique in your style or your sound, whatever you're coming up with, right?
Mm-hmm.
A little bit. Because again, you have to be able to market yourself, if you want to get, that mass following.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think you have to be different enough or unique enough to where you have an edge over other artists that are already out there. Because
Mm.
if you sound the same as like another artist, you might be popular for a little bit, but if you don't
Mm.
change your sound and you just kind of sound like everyone else, eventually it's just you're not going to be around for too long. So I think in order to have that long-term success and really make some kind of impact in the music industry, you have to come with your own unique sound. And it could be something as small as like the type of instrument or maybe production techniques you use to give you a unique sound. Or it could be something as wild as like I'm thinking of this artist Jacob Collier, who has a very unique sound. He's kind of like a music prodigy, and he does all these wild things with all these instruments, but he's very unique. I would even actually say he's kind of too unique, because it's a little overboard. But he's so kind of unique, and there's no real other sound out there, that he's kind of built himself this little spot in the music industry that I guess kind of protects him right now. But my point being, you have to be unique enough, but also still marketable enough to where you can have long-term success. So I kind of see it as you need both things to be a successful music artist.
I definitely understand your point, and strange as it sounds, I have to agree. I as much as as you not to kind of like, I'm pretty much carrying on what you're just saying is like, yes, on an individual, when you're on a, trying to break out and you're trying to make things, unfortunately, I will put it this way. You're going to have to sometimes be the Brunson. You're going to have to be, you're going to, yeah, you're going to have to be the point guard, and you're going to, yes, you're the driving force. You're setting up how everything moves, but you're the one with the vision. There's people on the team that's supposed to help you execute the vision, and they're all a part of the same idea. So yes, you're playing the floor and making sure everything works the way you want it to, but that only works well if you have a strong support system. If you're an artist, some people prefer to write all them stuff by themselves, but sometimes some people are not that great at radio singles, and they might need help with someone who has an ear for that. There might be someone who's very good on the production level that knows how to, like, okay, I know what sound you like. Okay, here's some chords. Here's a melody I think your sound matches, or whatever the case may be. And then you need someone to market it. You need someone who's willing to do the grassroots step up, going door to door, trying to get as many attention. So, right. I think in current day, I think artists are trying to be all of the above. And it's just because, they don't have the machine behind them. But if you had like a machine, or a team, should I say, of people you can hand different parts of the artistic vision to, and they can take care of that, is less stress on you to execute this vision. So I definitely wholeheartedly agree with you that it's a little bit of both, but it, both play a big factor in the music we love. Like it, sometimes we really respect it when an artist does everything solo, or like multi-talented, like a Prince.
Yeah.
Yes. And we love that. But then sometimes you have artists that craft who have an entire atmosphere of sounds, but they have a team behind it to keep that engine going. So you're right. I agree. I 100% agree with you on that.
Love that. Love when we we come together and agree.
Yeah, there we go.
Kind of like the Knicks, working together.
Yeah. There we go.
Getting that championship.
There we go. You're Brunson, I'm Hart. There we go.
Oh wow. All right.
You be Captain Clutch.
All right.
I'll be on the wing. Wait for the opening, and I'll shoot it.
Not mad about that.
Oh man. Yes. Anyway, sorry guys, but when it comes to like music, like the bigger picture is like one of the most interesting things about like music history is like the artists and the stars become symbols of an era like when we think the 70s, you think Marvin Gaye. When we think the 80s, you think Prince and Michael Jackson. You think the 90s, depends on whatever genre you're referring to. There's a lot of stars in there. Same thing. Like every era, there's always like a list of artists that crafted the sound or helped push the sound that we love so much. And like I said, it's just mainstream fame. Like, unfortunately, yes, talent takes you a lot and it takes you far. But like we mentioned, you need timing, you need image, you need marketing, you need a story that people can like latch onto, you know, and the level of visibility that like a lot of writers and producers like never chase too hard to do so because it kind of seems unauthentic. So it takes some time of the artist or singer to be like deep, you know, to be vulnerable, to play that factor. So, you know, but when it, you know, as we mentioned before, like music, like helping artists, they all play a factor in like whether you're a major artist already and you're like, oh, I see this next upcoming person. Here's a hook. Here's a melody. Take that. Use this. It's gonna work to formula yours. Take it. And then sometimes, you know, there's artists like who are upcoming, like Bruno Mars, as you mentioned before, and they were like, I'm not famous yet, but if I work with these people and I write some stuff, maybe I can get my foot through the door that way. So there's so many different elements to help push one, the music that we love, and two, push artists further into stardom, if that makes sense. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think that you said it perfectly. I think that it's there needs to be more. It's just more than talent, and I think that's kind of the big idea here. Is you can't just be talented. You have to kind of connect with people and be marketable to really get your name out there.
Good.
So, thank you for joining this episode of Music Musings. If you enjoyed this episode, have any ideas, want to share any comments, please email us or share your ideas on our website, musicmusingspodcast.com. Please subscribe and give us a rating. That'd be fantastic. The more ratings we get, you know, the more popular we get. So please help us out.
Yep. Yeah.
And as always, stay tuned.
And Nixon 5.
Yeah, Nixon 5. even though they won, but Nixon 5. Nixon 5.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, man.
Bye, guys.
Take care. Oh, man.
I think we're good. Is it? Yeah, okay. We're good. Cool.
Thank you for listening to today's podcast. If you have an idea for an intro or an outro that we could play on our show, please send to musicmusingspodcast@gmail.com.
If you have any questions, comments, or ideas, please email us at musicmusingspodcast@gmail.com.